Welcome to another episode of Life Equals Cars, and in today's episode, I picked my FRS back. We are off to the dealer. Excited to get my car back. I did like driving this 4Runner, but I like driving my FRS a whole lot better. While they had my engine out, the dealer was nice enough to replace my spark plugs and my throwout bearing in my clutch for no charge except parts. My clutch was making a little bit of a noise and I could feel the throwout bearing going out of it, and they replaced it for free, and I'm extremely thankful for that. And thank you to Stevenson Hedrick Toyota for being really awesome. The throwout bearings are a known issue with the Scion FRSs. Unfortunately, they were not that great from factory, which is why it was going bad, because my car has almost 100,000 miles. I think that's around the time that they start to go bad. So I'm going to be doing a very in-depth review later on about my FRS, and I will also be doing a video later on about issues and known problems with the FRS. Almost to the dealer, and we're going to drop this beast off. If you want to check out my review of this 4Runner, check the link in the description. I hope that you find it informative and useful if you're searching for a new SUV. Well, we're here. Let's go get the FRS. Sounds good. I'm happy to have it back. There were a couple noises before I brought it here that I was going to look into because they had just started, and now they are gone, which is awesome. So I'm going to drive it and see how it sounds. Well, here we're going to pull out for the first time. Pretty excited. I haven't driven my car in a week, and it's always fun to re-drive. That clutch feels a lot different than it used to. I gotta get used to this again. So different with this new pilot bearing. I'm not sure if throwout bearing is just another term or if I got confused, but I will have to look that up later. Check to make sure. It is good to be back in my car, and it feels better than it has in a very long time due to the new spark plugs, the new pilot bearing, and I'm assuming the new valve springs. Can't really tell the difference with those because my old ones were working just fine, but this car has definitely got a really good refresh at 100,000 miles. I'm super happy that the recall came out and that we were able to get everything taken care of. Stevenson Hedrick Toyota is a really awesome dealership. They're down in Jacksonville, North Carolina. If you live in Jacksonville or in the the Jacksonville area or Wilmington area, I would definitely recommend coming down to Stevenson Hendrick Toyota if you are planning on buying a Toyota. They made the process painless. They made it super easy. They were extremely nice, and the man that worked on my car has been working on these cars for 30 years, not these cars in particular, but Toyotas and cars in general for 30 years, and is extremely meticulous about everything he does. So I have full confidence that this engine was put back together just fine, and I'm not going to have any issues with it. But I will update you guys if I do have any issues with it. Hopefully that's not the case, but if it is, I will definitely let you know. For this recall, the reason why it's considered a safety recall is because the valve springs, they said, are prone to fracturing. So when a valve spring fractures, it's going to halt the engine or shut it off or essentially blow it up. So when your engine shuts off, you lose power steering, you lose power brakes, and that's considered a safety issue. But that is why it's considered a safety recall and why it is pretty important for you to come out and get yours fixed, because there's always a chance that that could happen if your vehicle is in the recall, and you definitely don't want to have to stop your car or steer it at 60, 70 mile per hour or whatever you're doing on the road and lose power steering or power brakes or both. That would not be a good day for anybody. So what Toyota did to remedy this issue is they released new valve springs that they developed, that they tested and found that they would not fracture. So they sent the kit out to the Toyota dealerships, and they sent out the recall information. You've probably already received yours in the mail, the recall information, if your vehicle is under the safety recall. So they take your engine completely out of the car. They remove your valve covers, which allows them access to your valve springs. They then take your spark plugs out. Well, they would take your spark plugs and your coil packs out before taking the valve covers off. But those are removed, and then what they do is they blow compressed air into your spark plug hole, which goes into the cylinder, which holds all of the valves in that cylinder closed. And then they can take the valve springs off, put the new valve springs in, and let the compressed air back, and that's it. Nothing else changed. In the process of pulling the engine out, they have to replace all of the seals that they break in the engine or anywhere else on the engine, and that is one of the reasons why this recall was great for my car, because it is at 100,000 miles, and those seals, if you take care of your engine 100% how it should be, I think you should replace those seals probably every 100,000 to 150,000 miles. So it was great that I got to have these seals replaced on my car, and while the engine was out, they replaced the spark plugs for me for free, just cost of the parts themselves, due to the fact that they were already removing the spark plugs. Now, if you own a Scion FRS, you know that spark plugs are not easy to replace on this car by any means. It's a very tight fit beside the engine, so if you have large hands or you don't have small tools, it's really, really, really hard to get in there and take those spark plugs out. So the Toyota handbook recommends that you unbolt the engine from its mounts and you raise the engine up about 8 or 9 inches to gain access to the spark plugs. Well, since they had the engine completely out of my car, they were nice enough to just replace the spark plugs for me without charging me labor. And since he pulled the engine out, that exposed the clutch and the throwout bearing, or the pilot bearing as they were calling it, which allowed them to observe my clutch, inspect my clutch, and inspect everything down there. And I was told that which is great. It was just my pilot bearing needed replaced. So they also replaced that free of labor because it was right there. And that I am extremely thankful for. So the last two videos, and including this one, was my experience of the recall and how easy it was for me to get it done. It was also a little breakdown of the recall itself, so you kind of know what to expect going into it and what they're going to be doing to your engine exactly. And I hope that it informed you. So that's about all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below about what you think of this video, what you thought of the recall, maybe your experience of the recall, and what you want to see in the future for videos. Also remember to follow me on Instagram at LifeEqualsCars, and as always, tune in next time for the next episode of Life Equals Cars.